I failed way more times than I ever succeeded, ever. And one thing I learned about my failures, you don't lose, you learn. Keep that in mind. So all those little steps you go through, that's what it takes to be successful. It's about the journey. You feel me? So at the end of the day, all this comparing yourself to other people's lives, ain't no need for that. As long as you better than you was the day before, that's all the competition you need, baby. You know what I'm saying? You want to be successful? And get on your grind. Go be successful. That's what you want, right?
Hey, this is Cedric Hawkins, and you are listening to episode 28 of the CedTalks Podcast. Today is September 3rd of 2020, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedules to listen to this episode, wherever you guys are at right now. You know, I say it at the top of every podcast. I want to make sure you guys are doing well, and you're staying healthy, and you're staying safe. We got Labor Day weekend coming up, so all my college friends, we got a 3-day weekend. We got a long weekend, so hope you guys stay safe out there, wear your mask, and just do what you got to do to keep yourself safe, you know. This virus doesn't discriminate. It don't care who you are, so we definitely got to look out for each other and make sure we're being safe. We're going into phase 3 here in Maryland on Friday, so definitely wear that mask. If you can, you know, stay home. That's just the introvert and me coming out. But, you know, it's all about keeping yourself safe and being protected. So I pray you guys are doing well. But nonetheless, I am proud to announce my guest for episode 28 today. I graduated with him 2 years ago, and he is currently a student majoring in business administration and out here just striving for excellence. He has a great voice, and I'm very happy to have him on the show today. So without further ado, I give to you Mr. Thomas Weiskircher. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Cedric, thank you so much for having me, man. Really excited to get to be here and get to talk to you today.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. How have you been, man? Like, this is our first time catching up in, like, years. So what has life been like for you?
Tell you, life's been really, and put it in one word, just kind of transformational. It's been quite an experience over the past 2 years, getting to go and attend a school, you know, not near our area in Southern Maryland, like kind of getting to meet a whole new crowd of people, and getting to kind of like learn about, you know, their society and what it's like, but also just, you know, getting to meet a whole new set of friends and transitioning into that college life and getting the jobs that I've been doing. Really just have, you know, upgraded me a lot in life. I think have helped me to build myself up further and, you know, really strive for the excellence and things I was always looking to pursue, like when I was in high school. But it's been great. Been really excited. So, you know, happy to be here.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I remember seeing the different posts that you've done on social media over the past few months, just, you know, advocating for people to get out there and, you know, do different jobs and stuff like that. You're out here giving people opportunities to work. And I just thought that was just so amazing. And you have a passion within the business field. And I just knew it would be perfect to have you on the show because you're a go-getter. Like, I consider you to be one of the success stories out of Calvert County. Like, you made something out of yourself and you're still being successful. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show, man. I'm so blessed to have you on.
Appreciate that, man. Blessed to be here and, you know, excited to give some tips and stuff today and just talk a little bit more about my experience and, you know, hoping to give some people some things they can take with them as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so before we shift into that, you know, growing up here in Calvert County, Maryland, what was that like for you as a young child? What do you remember the most?
I think just, you know, the big element of, you know, I came from North Carolina when I was 4 years old. I came to Calvert County and, you know, it was quite a different atmosphere than kind of anything I was around before. I really enjoyed it. I think the people were probably what I remember most and, you know, how much Calvert County's kind of changed in the landscape since I started in 2004. You know, even going back now, I'm like, oh, they're building Panda Express. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like all these different things have been built since I lived there. And, yeah, I think the people is the biggest thing. Like, you know, Calvert County is one of those places where, like, you got, you know, a different kind of group of people where you're probably not going to get to find them everywhere around America. And, you know, just really enjoyed getting to grow up in the area we were in, getting to know the people I got to know. I think it was really what helped me to shape my outlook on life and what I wanted for my future.
Yeah, totally. Like, it's crazy to think just how much Calvert County has expanded since I was a child. I mean, we never had a Chick-fil-A here in Calvert County. So whenever we went out of the county, me and my family, it was just like, Chick-fil-A, we got to go to Chick-fil-A. And literally, it's right in Prince Frederick. And it's just mind-boggling, to be honest with you, especially with that Panda Express, too. I'm definitely ready for that to open up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be quite exciting. I think the same deal is going to go with Chick-fil-A open, like going to be a huge line out there for sure. I mean, I think it was, interesting being in the area we're in where you have to drive 45 minutes to get to anything really. But you kind of end up having that as much as everybody goes, man, it's such an inconvenience for me to have to do that. It's kind of nice. You have that kind of appreciation for that small town atmosphere that we bring and, the community feeling that, sort of you learn to inhabit and be a part of as part of like, the Huntingtown community, for example, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I think it's just kind of different. There are a lot of people here that like they're from cities or things like that. It's just it's very different landscape and, kind of people than what I'm pretty much used to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so when you think about it, like years down the road from now, would you rather live in an area like Coward County, something small, or would you rather live in a big city like?
This has been something I've really contemplated. It's, when you think about Calvert County, there's obviously some negatives, but there's benefits too. Like you have a great school system. I think that's one big thing. It's relatively pretty safe. You have a decent, the people that live in Calvert County, the population is pretty good. We have enough where it's you can do some things. Obviously negatives being you have to drive everywhere. Like I already mentioned, that's, you don't have anything just there for you. I think for me, I lived basically between Rockville and, College Park this summer. And I think that I kind of like that. Living in the city for me is not going to be super ideal, but right outside or in that sort of metro area is pretty much what I think I'm looking for.
That's what's up. I think that's something I'd like to do, just kind of get the experience of life away from Calvert County, just to see what the city's all about, what the talk's all about. And, hopefully down the road, I'm able to settle down in a small town area like this, because I love the atmosphere here. I know some people hate on it. It's like, oh, there's nothing to do here in Calvert County. It's it's dry, it's boring, but I love the nature atmosphere of driving around, seeing trees and seeing small buildings and stuff like that. I love that. So, God willing, hopefully I can get myself in a position where I can live in a place like this in the future.
I definitely agree with you. I think when you're young, that was the first time I kind of got to experience living in a place like that this summer, where it's it's exciting. It's cool to be around everything and you have those availabilities. But, especially when you start to transition into family life or just later in your years, you're not looking to be around all that all the time. It's cool to go and drive and visit that. But at the same time, you want somewhere that's just going to be a solid place for you and your family to stay. Because honestly, that's going to be what's of most importance. I think Calvert County is a fairly good place for that to get to happen. So I definitely agree with you. I can see myself as I, get older and progress into those stages of life, living in a similar place to Calvert County.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And touching on family, speaking about that, growing up, what are some of the values and morals that your family taught you that has kind of shaped you into the person that you are now?
I think that's an excellent question. I really, I was talking to my dad about this a few days ago. Just the biggest things are hard work. My house, we had no power tools. And that was one thing everything we did was always with handheld manual tools. And that was, it would take a lot longer to get to do those sort of things than with a chainsaw. We had a hurricane came through, we'd have a tree fall down. All we did was take axes and saws and that's what we did all day. And I mowed my grass for years. I shoveled all the snow. I did a ton of stuff around my house. My father really values really working hard. And now, I really thank him for that, because that is a value that I hold myself to that higher standard. I'm so used to it and accustomed to it that it becomes easy for me to do it without batting an eye. And that really has helped me as I've sort of transitioned into my start of my professional life, that I'm always so used to working as hard and as long as possible that it just comes naturally, and it's not really a big problem for me to get to do. That's definitely one thing. Another one thing would be definitely just attitude and respect. That was a huge part of my life. My dad, if you ever drive me to a friend's house or my brother and I somewhere, he would stop the car and the last thing he would say before we would leave was, "Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. Please. Thank you." And then he would say, go have fun. And like, that was every single time. It was a reminder. And yeah, I mean, it kind of got monotonous after a while where it was like, okay, yeah, we get the point. But like, it really helped. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have told me over the course of my life, like, you must have been raised by really good parents because you have really, really good, like, respect and attitude and manners. And I think about that a lot because it's definitely helped me transition into where I am now, where an attitude of just being grateful for what I have and, what I've been able to do is definitely an attitude that I get to have. And I'm constantly just, without even thinking about it, just thanking the people around me that have helped me to grow into who I've become today. But, God was also a big part of our family. I go to church every Sunday, so that's still, still pretty devout, like still believe in what I have to do there and kind of like do things that I know are going to be the path that God wants me to be on. And that's really been a big focus of my life is just like making sure that I'm doing all the right things, not only for myself to ensure my success, but also on the path that like I think God sees fit for me.
Right. Absolutely. I like how you touched on, respect and attitude and, yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, or, saying excuse me before you interject yourself into a conversation. When you think about all of that, do you feel like we are like a dying breed of, people who still have respect and positive attitudes for people?
I don't see why there can't be a reoccurrence, but I definitely think there's been a shift to that decreasing. I think that there's a lot of parents out there who are just so afraid of like just punishing their kids. I think that was one thing that like that wasn't like a problem for my family. Like when I messed up, like I messed up and like I deserved to know about it. And I think that that's something that really isn't as prevalent as it should be. It's very important, and it doesn't matter. Like, I can even see myself as an adult. I know I'm going to value that. I value it right now. Right. I value respect and manners. So, if we don't have a big society of that, like, if I'm ever in a position like I was this summer to be in a management role, like, that's what I want to hear from applicants. Like, that's what I want to hear from my employees. And I think that, even if people aren't raised that way, there's no reason they can't learn. Mm-hmm. If you're a boss, that's something that, like, I think is so easy to get to teach. And it really goes a long way. It's great investment in your people to just make sure that they can do that. Now, I think that there's still a healthy dose of people that are still learning and are getting that. I think there's a lot of people, as they realize, maybe they're our age and they're still a little bit like immature or something like that. Like they realize as they get older, that's important. So while I think that like you said, yes, you said it was like a dying breed. I don't necessarily see it as a dying breed. I think just like, it's not as prevalent as it was, and it should be.
Yeah, totally. I definitely do feel you. We have to be held accountable and responsible for our actions. I remember I was like 8 years old, and my dad got me these really nice LeBrons, like really nice. And, we had a trampoline in the backyard, so I was jumping the trampoline with my friends, and I just hopped out the trampoline, went straight in the house without my shoes, started pouring rain at night. My dad saw those shoes outside. He tore into me with that belt. I mean, he tore into me. But the main lesson was you got to take care of, what you have. Like, here I am working hard for you to have this, and you're just leaving it outside. And that taught me that, like, wow, like, when I start buying my stuff, I have to start taking care of my stuff. Because I see the value now in purchasing something that means a lot that most people aren't able to have. So definitely grateful for those experiences that I've learned from my family.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think, in that situation, one, you got to have respect for the person who worked for you. But, that's what you said you learned. Like, you got to respect for yourself, too. Like, if you're going to invest in something, if you're going to purchase something for yourself, like, take care of it. Like, keep it of utmost importance to you. Even though you bought it, like you can still hold yourself to that higher standard. Like you said, hold yourself accountable for it. So I think that's a great point to get to make.
Yep, exactly. Which leads into my next question. What is the value of working hard for the things that you want in life? Because I'm not going to say I feel like, sometimes people have things handed to them, but maybe you have a person that maybe hasn't really worked for something that they have. So what's your take on that? What is the importance of working hard?
It's always been something that I've tried to eclipse and really help other people understand. I think I did a really good job of that this summer. One thing I love to get to say is no one regrets working hard. I have rarely ever seen somebody who really poured their heart and soul into something fail. And I think that that's a really important lesson for people to learn. One thing we always love to tell our representatives is, hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. So, you can only go so far with talent, but if you're not constantly pouring into yourself and growing or attempting to, you're not going to succeed. The people that are themselves be greater, pushing themselves to new heights, doing the things for themselves that are going to make them better. One quote that my region manager loves to get to say is, if you're not growing, you're dying. So, if you're not reading, if you're not helping others, if you're not doing the things that God has blessed us here on this earth to get to do, and really just trying to make yourself a better version of yourself, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. You're not doing anything that can help you to be better. I think that one big thing is you can go so far with talent and you can be amazing, but if you don't have that sort of grind to day in and day out try to improve and make yourself 1% better, then that's hard to do. God has blessed us all with different abilities, and obviously some more than others. But if you're not willing to put in the, but that's something. It's no matter, if you think about LeBron, LeBron is an extremely talented individual. Obviously he was blessed with a ton of abilities, but it's not like he didn't go out there and practice day after day after day, or work out, or work really hard to be a great family man and donate all this money. And he puts forth a ton of effort, and he reaps a lot of the reward. And that's one of the reasons he's most successful. It's not due to his talent and skill. It's how hard he's worked to make that talent and skill even better.
Yeah, you also look at Kobe Bryant also and how he got to where he was. I mean, Kobe had the talent, but it wasn't mean he was resting on his laurels and he was content. I mean, he would go into his high school gym literally 4:30, 5 o'clock, or 5:30 before anybody came in. He was out there shooting hoops on the court, so he had to hone his skill and work on what he wanted so he could get far in life and reach the potential that God saw in him for him to become the Mamba, one of the greatest NBA players of all time. So it's you have to take time out to work hard just to, get better.
Of course. I mean, I think that's, a big thing is we can focus ourselves so much on the present, but if you're also not focusing on your future, then you're not focusing correctly. Everybody's live in the present. Yes, that's important. But also if you don't have future goals and milestones and things you want to achieve and a plan to get there, then when that time comes around, you've done nothing to prepare yourself for that. And so I think that, I try to live my life that way, where it's I balance my schedule with, okay, I got to do a lot of this stuff today. I got homework for this class. I got to do this paper. I got to go to this meeting. That's all present stuff. But then I also take out time out of my day to read growth books, listen to podcasts and things that, are going to help me to achieve more for my future.
Yeah.
I think if you can get a really healthy balance of that in your life, the present and future, that's going to help you lead a lot to your success.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I was listening to Dr. Eric Thomas, and he was giving one of his motivational speeches, and he was just pushing on the importance of, working hard and maintaining a schedule. And one of the things he said was, if I'm getting up at 4 a.m. and I'm already getting to work, and you're getting up at 8 a.m. to get to work, that means I'm already ahead of you, and I'm already, past you mentally, because I'm out here doing the same thing that you're doing, but I'm getting up earlier to do it. And so when he said that, that spoke to me man, it's time for me to get a schedule, start being consistent. Now I'm up at 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, jogging, working out, shower, read a book for about 30 to 45 minutes, and just tackling my classes, just doing what I got to do. Maintain that schedule has helped me, get to where I'm at now with the podcast and just everything that I've been doing, man. It's just, I feel great with the schedule that I have.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part to make is, something we try to pride ourselves on, with my company at the same time, is just strong daily morning routines. A lot of people, they're not morning people. And to be honest with you, until this year, I wasn't either. But it took me to be around a group of highly successful people for me to really understand how important that truly was. Because I always felt I can wake up at 10 a.m. and I can still get everything done that everybody else does. But it's just different. When you wake up and you put yourself on that grind, it's a different feeling. It brings a whole new level to your day and gets you prepared for success. And you just feel very, very different. When you're up late at night, you're doing stuff you can feel somewhat successful, but there's just a whole different level to waking up at 5, 6 a.m. and getting your day off started right before the sun rises. And you're like, okay, like I got this whole day in front of me to make it what I want. What am I going to do at that time? And I think that that's a really important thing. But yeah, keeping a schedule for sure, being as consistent as possible is extremely important. If you can get yourself into those really good habits, like it seems like you've been implementing in your life, you just feel a lot better, feel a lot more confident. Your mentality is a lot better. You're just preparing yourself for a lot of success you can achieve in your future.
Yep, absolutely. And that's called time management, people. We out here talking about time management, the importance of that. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn that stuff. Listen to what we're saying.
Very true. Very true.
Yep. And so shifting over from that, I want to talk about, your time at Huntingtown High School. Obviously, we went to school through middle school and high school. But during your time at Huntingtown, how did their teaching, the teachers there, how did they help shape you into who you are now?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think that a lot of my college classes are easier than the high school equivalents I took. I think that I was challenged by so many of my teachers to be better and hold myself to a higher standard. One thing, I think I completed 2 business pathways in high school, and I had some really excellent business teachers that helped me along the way. Mrs. Grauer through Future Business Leaders of America, FBLA was extremely instrumental in who I am today. It taught me to, one, compete, get to work in the field that I want to work with, but, just make sure that I could do all the things to not only compete, but win. And that really helped me do a lot. Not only did it help me boost my resume, of course, but boosted my confidence. Like, hey, I can do this at a high level and achieve great things. But I think a lot of people prepare me for my success. I think our business department, like the classes I have here that I take, I was very well prepared to take on the classes I have here. And, my APs that I took, but not only that, a lot of the honors classes I took helped me to prepare for my future really, really well. I think, if you're a student at Huntingtown High School who's nervous about college, yeah, there should be a level of nerves. Like, it's different. You actually do have to study. But at the same time, you're in good hands. There are a lot of people here that went to public schools, and, I'll just give you an example. Never have cited anything before. Never have done citations. And I'm I've been doing citations since middle school.
Yeah.
It's just something where, really just be thankful and grateful for the education you're receiving. Yeah, it might be difficult, it might be hard, but it is really, really helpful if you want to be successful in college.
Totally. I got to give a special shout out to Miss Hutzline. She definitely challenged me and really helped form me into the student that I am now with college, with taking AP Government, because that was my first AP class I ever took. And I was in a class with people who I didn't even know. I never talked to them or associated with them at all through school. And I was taking this really rigorous and difficult course. And I didn't think I could do it. I was kind of saying to myself, God, what did I get myself into? But I remember God spoke to me and he was just son, I'm not going to give you anything that you can't handle. And so, once he said that, that's what made me even more driven. I talked to her. She would give me advice on, different assignments, and I was able to keep up with what she was expecting of me as a student. And those high expectations that she set for me really just helped me out a lot. So if it wasn't for me taking those 8 different AP classes, junior year, who knows how I would have fared out in college. It would have took me a while to get it, but, definitely grateful for what Huntingtown taught me and the different teachers who believed in me and the other students, too, with their expectations.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, we honestly had some really great people that were teachers as well that have helped shape us who we are today. I think for me, Miss Grauer was really instrumental, and, Miss Harrington, I definitely would agree, Mr. James and, Miss Hetzline, and, we're talking about Miss McClellan was there as a accounting teacher. She did a great job too. But I think a huge one for me was Mr. Arneson. I took AP Stats my junior year, and I had never taken statistics before. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. It was my first AP math class, and I hadn't done that well in pre-calc the year before, so I was taking statistics, and I honestly did not do super well, and I had to retake many of the tests that he had, but he would sit down and work with me, and I would be in there day in and day out after school for 2 hours or whatever, just constantly trying to get better. And just the fact that he had that passion with his students to stay after hours almost every single day and be open for lunch and just work with them to make them better was, it was really a great role model and figure to look up to as somebody who's really passionate about their job and, constantly just focused on what can I do to help other people. That was really, really awesome experience I got to have.
Yeah, I really do respect all the teachers who just had that passion for just teaching, and not just teaching without beyond like the subject, but just teaching like other life lessons just to prepare us for the real world. Because I feel like maybe I had a few teachers that didn't really take the time to help me out in a lot of ways, but like towards the end of my high school year, just I was so grateful to have teachers like Mr. Kerwin, Miss Hutzline, Miss Moreland with my writing class senior year. Like, they really helped me out a lot, and it wasn't because like they were forced to do it. It was because like they really wanted to. Like Miss Hutzline, to help us prepare for the AP test, she would open up her room on Saturday mornings and literally would just teach us for like 2 or 3 hours. Like, she didn't have to do that, but she has a love for teaching, and it was just awesome looking back on it now. Like, so grateful.
Definitely agree. I mean, they're only paid to come there from 7:25 to 2:20 or 3:00 or whatever it is, and a lot of them will stay and do extra hours for it, unpaid, just really wanting their students to achieve the highest possible heights that they can reach, and that really says a lot about people like that. And I mean, honestly, I try to mirror my life around that. Like, yeah. I'm willing to do the extra hours that need to be done in order to help the people I work with achieve more and hit their full potential, because that's what I'd really want to see at the end of the day. It's not just about my growth, my success. It's about how many people can I bring with me and help them achieve new heights and things they didn't think were possible.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so shifting over from that, you're obviously a business administration major. What made you decide to choose business as your career path?
I know I've had a passion for business since I was in 7th grade. That was when I first, before that I wanted to do engineering. I didn't really know too much about it. I just knew that at that time, at least, I was good at math and science. I remember I was in Miss Cox, her algebra class, Algebra 1, my 7th grade year. And we did this thing called WeSeed, which was where you could go and get fake money and invest in stocks. I remember I did really well. I focused on it and did it throughout the whole entire summer. It was basically an assignment for the last 2 weeks of school. But I followed mine throughout the whole summer. Then the company closed. But it was really, really cool. And that's when I said, like, this is something I'm super passionate about. And I remember going through my 8th grade year, just being like, I want to do business. Obviously there was nothing really besides, there was no classes like that in middle school. I remember I got to high school and I said, yeah, I definitely want to join Future Business Leaders of America. I want to be involved. I want to, go to these competitions, and I want to just test my knowledge and my abilities. And I didn't take any business classes until my 10th grade year. But I remember I was part of, I came in 7th in my category for my freshman year for, states for FBLA. My sophomore year, we ended up winning 3rd and going to nationals in Atlanta. And I just remember being there. It was just a really surreal experience, getting to be in Atlanta, which was a ton of fun. But just the fact that, just being like, man, like I'm a sophomore in high school and I got myself to come and do something in this competition at a national stage was pretty cool. And, I've just been really passionate about it ever since. I've always been trying to learn from more professionals, constantly gain a lot of insight into what can I do to make myself a better manager and person. I just really enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy getting to work with people and helping guide them to success. And I mean, I enjoy sales too. That's the big thing about me is I just, I have a real passion for it, enjoy it, and I definitely know it's the right path.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I talked to Malcolm on the show probably a few weeks ago, and he was talking about the foreign stock trade thing. I don't know if I have that correct, but I know he invests in that. Is that something that you do also in your time?
I do not invest in the foreign exchange market. I know that he does. I've actually talked to him about it before. I don't currently. I invest in some different other, different securities and things like that. But currently, I have a actual job as a sales manager for for the company I work with, for Costco, and that was what I did all summer. I worked 6 to 7 days a week, and I had over 100 representatives I helped manage. Get to work with. Ended up having almost a $700,000 summer actually over $700,000 for sales. which was our best in like 10 years that we've had. So even around a pandemic, excelling at a high level. And it was a really great experience for me and for the people I got to work with, and, just getting to build my network up and making myself a stronger individual was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. That's what's up. And so before we touch on your decision to attend college outside of Maryland, I want to talk to you about the importance of networking, because obviously you had to do a lot of networking to get to where you're at now. So talk to me about just the importance of networking and why it's important in order to get to a certain level in your life.
Networking is more important than your resume. I will stress that till the day I die. Networking is more important than your resume. It's not always about what you do and what you've accomplished. It's about who you know. If you want to make yourself have the most opportunity when you graduate, you have to network. And a big thing for me was that I started young, and I think that was a huge part of my success, today, is I started when I was in ninth grade. I'd go to FBLA, and there were just business professionals there all around. They would set up tables and booths, and they would talk to you, and they would be the ones who were judging your competitions. And so I got to meet a lot of fantastic people and get to know them really, really well. And I have a ton of them. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, I definitely suggest getting one and building your profile. That is so imperative and crucial. You want to be someone that you're able to upload your resume, and you have employers who are like, look, coming after you, that are sending you messages on LinkedIn. But the biggest thing is also just talk to people you're afraid to talk to. Get out of your comfort zone. If somebody you think is around you and excites you, and you think you can learn from them, send them a message. Send them an email. You really don't know what you're capable of until you try. I think that's something that I fully believe with people. As there are people I never thought I would ever talk to in my life, that the fact that I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to reach out. You never know what somebody's going to say until you try. You can't just assume someone's going to say no or not be interested. And everybody isn't going to say yes. You don't know who's going to say yes and who's going to say no until you do it. I think that that's a huge part. If you want to have the most internship opportunities, the most opportunities for jobs when you get out of school, build up your network now. Do the right things in order to ensure yourself success for the future. And maybe you found something that you're really comfortable in. Maybe you want to start your own business, but always have that sort of fallback plan where even if you do own your own business and you're running it by yourself, do you have the people around you that you can surround yourself with and talk to for advice? That's also a big thing. Even if you do your own thing, can you have people around you and this great network of people that you can talk to? You can get, like I said, you can get advice from, you can see what they say about certain things, because they may give you really good ideas. People are always looking to bounce ideas off each other's head, and you might help them with something. So you never know. But I think it's super crucial to whatever path you're going to choose to just be able to network immediately as soon as you can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know we were talking before I started recording for the show, and I was telling you about how when I started the podcast, I had different family members and close friends on the show. Once I got to episode 14 or 15, that was it as far as everybody in my inner circle. So it became a situation of, well, crap, who am I supposed to talk to now? Who am I going to speak to? And I've always been a very shy and a quiet person, especially back in high school. So I thought, man, there's no way that these people who I kind of looked up to and admired in high school, there's no way they're going to want to sit and talk with me. But it was I had to tell myself, it doesn't hurt to ask. And if they say no, it's not the end of the world. You pray about it and you think about it and you move on to the next person. And slowly but surely, these different people, they're saying yes and they're coming on the show. And after they leave the show, I keep in touch with them and we have that connection and that bond. And it was just if I had never took a chance on myself to network and talk to these people, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. So, you can't let fear drive you, because if you do, you miss the blessings that God's trying to show you. And then he has to restart the process all over again until you get it right.
I mean, I think that is a absolutely crucial point for everybody. You should want to feel uncomfortable. And I think that that's something that most people, they always want to stay in their comfort zone. They don't want to move out. You should want to get out of it. You should want something to make you feel uncomfortable and uncertain. And then you should go do it, because it can reap huge rewards for yourself. For me in sales, that's a huge thing. There were always people I was afraid to call or contact to get to show my product to. And I would go and do it. They would buy, and I was like, wow, like I'm really happy I took that chance, because like it helped me reap a lot of rewards for myself. And I think that's how you have to be as somebody. If you want to continuously grow, you have to constantly make yourself just a little bit uncomfortable, just a little bit nervous, because that's the only way you can get better.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so, speaking about, uncomfortability, trying to get yourself comfortable, you chose to attend a school outside of Maryland. It's in Pennsylvania. What swayed you to make that decision?
Well, that's a really interesting question. When I was looking at schools, I knew that I probably wanted to go out of state. That was just something that I was like, yeah, I want a different kind of experience. I want to meet a whole new, group of people. Just really get myself out of my comfort zone, honestly. That was my big focus. I knew I wanted a small school. I knew that I didn't want to go to any sort of big institution. I had visited a few, and I was like, I just don't think this is the ideal place for me to be the best version of me, and to get better. And I said, small school, I think I can thrive in this atmosphere, and I think I can really enjoy it. And that's definitely been true. I went and visited a lot of schools, a lot of them, and I applied to like 13 schools. I got into 12 of them, and I ended up going for a competition here at Misericordia when this was January of our senior year, and it was a 2-part competition. So you had a writing competition where they would come in, they give you a topic, and you had an hour to write an essay about it. You didn't know what the topic was about until you got in there. And they were going to pick like the top 13 people to come back and do interviews with the board that they had here, a selection committee. So it was like me and 85 other people that were the top of the incoming class if they so choose to come to the school. And I came in and, I did the essay, and I remember telling my mom after, well, I tried. I don't think I ended up getting that one of those 13 spots. Lo and behold, about a week later, I get a call, and it's like, hey, you're going to be invited back for the interview portion. I was like, whoa, really? So that's awesome. So I was one of the top 13, and I came back up. I did my interview, had a ton of fun. I got some free Chick-fil-A out of it.
Of course.
But, yeah, that was definitely a huge perk. But came up and did it, and they were like, we're going to pick the top 6. My dad brings me up here, and I go and do my interview, and I thought I did pretty well. And I'm on my way home, and I got a call, and they're like, hey, you won the scholarship. So I'm like, that's awesome. So I got all my tuition paid for, didn't have to worry about that. But I still wasn't completely finished yet. I hadn't heard back from all these schools yet, so I had a deal with them where it was like, once I hear back from all the schools I've applied to, one of them was the Coast Guard Academy. I'll be able to give you a final decision. They're like, okay, we have a reserve for you whenever you're ready. So that was kind of the deal breaker. Actually, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, was the school that I actually was looking to attend if I didn't get into the Coast Guard Academy. I got in there. It's a really good business school out in Ohio. But, just the fact that I really loved the campus. I loved the surrounding atmosphere around here, the people. The people here were the nicest of any school that I went and visited, that was for certain. I love the fact that I was able to have the opportunity to continue playing football at the next level. There were just a lot of opportunities for me to help grow. Like the school of business, when I came here, had just turned into the college of business. And we were getting a brand new dean, and there weren't a lot of organizations or clubs available. So I said, this is something I can make a direct impact right away. And I said, I want that. I didn't want something I could just slide into and, there was going to be opportunities for me abundant. It was something where I could really come in and leave my mark and make a change and leave my legacy. And I said, I'd rather do that. I think when I think about it, I think of my opportunity here is more of a fixer-upper house instead of a mansion that was already created. It was something where I was able to come in and make my impact and make it what I wanted to be. And that honestly was the big decision factor for me.
Nice, man. And so do you think that people should take the community college route when it comes to college, or do you think they should go all in with it?
Absolutely. And I tell you, if I wasn't blessed with, the opportunity to get this scholarship that I have, most certainly would I go to CSM. While I think it's great to go to a big institution, and get to be there and to have that experience for 4 years, more power to people that want to do that. I think for me that I just value finances so much, that easily the community college route. And I took an online class at CSM, last summer. And yeah, like it was difficult. Like I think that like they hold you to a higher standard and prepare you very well for going to a big institution.
Yeah.
I think that like that is something that, you know, people sort of frown upon, and they shouldn't, because guess what? Like when you're just think about, yeah, maybe you had the time of your life, but look how much more debt you're in than somebody who went to a community college. Like I think if that opportunity is there for you, certainly you should take it, especially with the bill that Maryland passed. Like if you fall into that category, like why not? Why not take that opportunity? So no, I completely agree with you. My brother's going to community college right now at CSM. So, like, I'm fully on board with that. I think it's a great plan.
Yeah, like, obviously, you know, I started off at CSM. That's how I started off, mainly because I didn't think I was ready for that campus life, maturity-wise, not in the sense of, oh, I'm going to go party, I'm going to just go buck wild. It was just in the sense of, I don't think I'm ready to be around a lot of people. You know, I'm still in my shell. I'm not ready to, you know, communicate well. And so I started off at CSM. I got so many scholarships that I was able to be blessed with no student loans when I graduated. And just off of my success at CSM, we was able to give me so many scholarships and grants and, you know, loans and stuff that I'm perfectly set now for this semester, tuition wise. I don't have to worry about anything. So CSM definitely prepared me for life at a 4-year institution, academically wise and also financially, because it taught me just ways on just how to, you know, operate within the college lifestyle in the responsible way.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if you're somebody who's in that similar situation you are, where you're like not certain that you can succeed, then don't force yourself to go there. Like, don't force yourself to pay all that money, but don't force yourself to do something that you're not sure. Like, CSM is also a great route. You can be the smartest kid in your class, but if you're like, I'm not socially ready to go to a big institution or something like that, then yeah, take the opportunity. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, because I know so many people from who we graduated with, they went off to a big 4-year school, and then they ended up coming back and just having to start all over again at community college before going back to a 4-year school, where you could have took the community college route for maybe a semester or two and then make that jump to a different school. So that was my biggest fear if I had gone to a 4-year school in the beginning. But I'm definitely blessed that my mom was smart enough to reel me back in and make me go to CSM, because I was able to reap so many benefits from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, it's just such a great plan to get to have, and you know what's the end goal here? We all end up graduating from a 4-year institution, but who's coming out with significantly less debt? Like that's one big thing. You know, I think that people take for granted. They're like, oh well, it's just loans. But then when you get out of college and you have to repay those, you go, wow, this is bad. I do not enjoy this at all. So, you know, I would have just rather taken that initiative. You know, I think for me, like I was able to pay off all my college this year by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that was a big thing for me. It was like, this was a really financially sound option for me that actually would have been significantly less than going in state. So it, you know, it worked out for me, but I know that there's a lot of people here that, you know, it's a private school. They pay quite a significant amount of money to come here. So I definitely think that, like, you know, if you're not certain that you can thrive in that environment yet, or you're not mature enough to do it, definitely take the community college route, because I guarantee you by the time you get your associates, you'll be prepared for anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And so shifting over from that now, we go into maybe the springish, maybe summerish, when you get that job that you had this summer, especially with the pandemic going on. How did that come to be? Like, how did you start doing that?
I tell you, so it was difficult. So I started out with Cutco last year. In May, I got a letter in the mail, and there was an office in Waldorf. And I said, yeah, you know, I was working at Taco Bell at the time. I was mowing grass, doing other stuff for people. And I was like, yeah, I could really pick up a second job. And it was a sales job. I'm a marketing major, and I thought, you know, like, this would be a good experience for me. Just get some sales experience. I hated sales. Honestly, I did not ever want to do it. But I said, like, this would be good to put on my resume.
Mm-hmm.
Went over, interviewed, got the job, went to training, started. I ended up selling last summer, you know, working like 2 days a week. Ended up selling like over 11 grand. Was one of the top representatives for our division, the DC Metro division. And I went into this program that we're actually starting right now. Had our first meeting this week. It's my second round, called Leadership Academy. It's something that my company offers for free. And it's not even just about leadership for our company for the future. There are a lot of people in there that go through it that pursue other things, internships, jobs, things like that. And, it's just a great, great experience. It's really what kept me with the company because of like what they're able to do for me. It's every week we focus on a different topic about leadership and growth and management of people and also just personal life skills, things that were extremely applicable for me right away. These are things I never would have learned in a college class. A lot of them were books that like I would have to read outside. And it was just so mind blowing for me, the different things that I was able to like learn, that it truly was a fantastic experience. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Excited for year two, but went through this winter. I sold around $6,000. Won a trip with the company in February to go to Grand Cayman. That was a lot of fun, getting to go there for 3 days on the company. But I came home because my school closed down officially mid-March, and I came home and I sold a little bit. So I was doing some demos and stuff for people online through Zoom. And they were like, we have to go to an all virtual platform. So I started mid-April as a manager there, and all our meetings were on Zoom. All of my one-on-one meetings with representatives, like staff meetings, everything had to be done virtually. It was the first time we'd ever done that as a company. All of our presentations were virtual for customers. And actually this year, we benefited quite a bit. Our company had strong leadership and had people that cared about other people. All of our factory workers were paid. No one got laid off. All of our representatives were paid all their bonuses and things, managers and things like that they were promised. The company really dedicated themselves to that, and really being there for their employees in such a trying time. And this year we're set to actually, right now, we're on pace to have our best sales year ever. In company history, and even around a pandemic. And that's because of the strong leadership and really just committing themselves to their employees before the business of themselves was really, really crucial to that added success. We had a ton. Like I said, my office had the best year we've had in like 10 years. And that was just really due to the people we had in there and the opportunity we had. And it was really great. And we took a lot of advantage of it. And in a time like this where everything was so uncertain, we were able to build a culture of like, we're certain we can succeed at a high level still. And that we did.
Nice, man. That's absolutely wonderful. Proud of just the work that you're doing and how you're impacting young lives. It's weird being a young entrepreneur in this world, especially at our age, because there's so much pressure from media and just other things to just, dive into other things, negative things that harms our growth. So just the fact that you've been able to have this much success in your young life, you know what I'm saying? If I had my hat on, I would tip my hat off to you, but I'm so happy just hearing the work that you're doing, and I can feel the passion from you, man. And it's just, I love that, man.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate it. I love getting to work with people because I love getting to look back and be like, I was able to impact that person's life positively. And that's kind of like my life's mission and my goal is, when I talk to people, it's not about, or I bring in a new representative, it's not about my paycheck. It's not about my success. While that is a focus of my life, and yes, it is important, that's not all about what I'm about. It's really about, I think of myself as like a tree. How many branches can I have of people that I've positively affected? It doesn't matter if I talk to somebody for 2 minutes or I talk to somebody every single day for 3 years. Like, after they leave talking to me, can they leave with a positive impact of the conversation or whatever they've gotten from me? Something that's going to help them grow and to be a better version of themselves. And that's really my life's purpose and mission is like, how many other people can I impact positively? Can I leave with, an attitude of success and growth and, just really devoting themselves to being a better version of themselves? That's what I want to help people to get to do. And, that's something like really came into fruition for me as I worked this summer, became really, really passionate about it and love getting to do what I do.
That's nice, man. I started working at a daycare about over a year ago, and that's what swayed me to go into education and take the education route. And it's just amazing just to see the different kids who are so unique, and they take to you and they appreciate what you do. I remember we had this one child. She was just so bad, just rambunctious and just just crazy. But I always took the time out to talk with her, ask her how her day went at school, ask about her family, how her little brother was. And back in December, she wrote me like a little note, and it was like, "Dear Mr. Cedric, I like you because you're kind and you're nice and unique, and you should stay that way." And she ended up leaving the center during the pandemic, and they ended up moving out of the state. But, I pray to God that when she gets older, 10, 15 years from now, she's able to look back and say, wow, that Mr. Cedric, he really took the time to talk to me and speak to me when all the other teachers, they didn't really want to talk to me like that. So my mission as a future educator is if I can touch one student's life and impact them to go in the right way, then my life goal is complete. Same with you in the business world.
Definitely agree. I think, so much about having a life of fulfillment is it always has to involve other people. Like if that's not your mission, that, my life could be fulfilled. I could be rich. I could have whatever I wanted. I could, do whatever I needed. I could be revered. That's not what I'm about. It's really, like, do I want that to happen? Of course, but I want that to be a product of the people that I've helped affect positively.
Yes.
Like that's what I want. It's all about, who can I bring forth with me, and who can I bring someone to do something that they never thought they could. Because I've done a lot of that in the past 2 years, and I think that it's extremely important. It's honestly the best feeling you can have. And, if I can have somebody believe in themselves enough where they can do something that they were like, man, I could have never seen myself doing this 6 months ago. That's what I want. And I love getting to hear, much like you just said, with her writing you that note, I couldn't have done it without you. I couldn't, because of what you taught me, I was able to do this. That is one of the greatest feelings that you can have as a person, where you can say, like, I have directly and positively impacted someone's life. And just to get to hear that is just amazing. And it's, something I'm constantly trying to pursue and, get to have in my life as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's only getting better from here. Like, if we're experiencing this much joy and success now, if we keep up with our schedules, just imagine how it's going to be like 5 years from now or 10 years from now. It's incredible just to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's invigorating. And I think, the fact that, like, you're doing this right now, like I told you earlier, you're bringing a lot of voices to people who may feel like, they don't have some sort of importance. But, just you DMing them and feeling like, hey, I want to interview you. I want to talk to you. I want to get you on this podcast can completely change somebody's life, can put them, in a lot more confident attitude and mentality where they're like, if Cedric wants to talk to me and, he has people that are listening to his podcast, like imagine how many other people, will see me as somebody who's beneficial to their life or important. I think that, what you're doing right now is extremely awesome. And when you, like I said, right when you DM me, I was like, I'm totally in, because I love what you're doing. I think this is fantastic. Not a lot of people our age are willing to go and do something like this. And honestly, it's not, of course it's benefiting you, but you're helping benefit countless others too. And it's a really, really awesome opportunity.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Absolutely. And so my final question to you is, when you think about God and what he has blessed you with in the span of the 20 years you've been on this earth, what do you think of that? How do you feel about that?
There's, one thing I was talking about with one of my fellow managers was just, there's one day where I just want to write, like, everything that I've done that I think is cool in my life. And honestly, I think that, like, this is just an extreme long way down the ground for like a long time. And, I think of just like, I look at all these other people who have just been less fortunate. You just think about, there's a lot of times where you have to sit down and constantly reflect on these things. And, something, especially during negative times in your life, because those are bound to happen. We have troughs and we have peaks. And, when we can sit down and just reflect on, like, hey, look how far I've come. Look what I've been blessed with doing. And look at, like, how much more I have that I take for granted that other people have no access to, or they can't achieve that. They can't do it, or it would take a tremendous amount of work just for them to get to do it. So there's a lot of times in my life where, like, I've thought about that, and, just getting to have the life and the talents and skills that I've been blessed with, it would be a shame if I didn't try to use those to the best of my ability to affect others. I think that, like, that is that's one big reason that I was put here on earth. I was put on earth to be a leader, but it was to bring as many other people with me as possible.
Yeah.
It was to bring positivity and light and, encourage other people to have a great mentality and confidence in themselves, because everybody was put here for a reason. Everybody was put here to fulfill some sort of purpose according to God's will. And having people, getting to help them unlock that potential for themselves and realize, like, you should be confident in you because there's no one like you. You're the only person that can do what you do because that's exactly why God made you. And I think that's something that I've really sort of embodied and tried to live my life that way. And I listen. I mean, big thing, I listen. Like, if I think that, I'm really kind of skeptical about something, I listen and pray on it. And that's, I think that I've really found an amazing path for myself. I think I'm on the right path. But, my path could change. And I think, constantly just getting to listen and pray about it. If you're uncertain about your future or what your life has in store for you, the easiest thing you can do is try to talk to God. And that doesn't mean you need to pray. Like, that's great. Pray, but have a conversation. He'll give you the answers you need. And yeah, they aren't going to come in forms of him directly talking to you all the time, but there are going to be certain things that you'll be like, you can just feel it. We'll just be like, yeah, this is where I need to be, or this is where I don't need to be. And, he'll tell you, and you'll see the certain signs that'll be able to get you there. But I think that I've been extremely blessed, and, I'm extremely grateful for what I've been able to do so far. And, I can't wait for the future. I think the fact that if you can be confident that you're living your life on the path that God wants you to take and in his light, I think that you can be confident that you can do anything. He's going to support you all the way. He's excited to see you do everything you do in your life. It isn't just going to church. It isn't just praying. Like, he's there all the time, and, just constantly try to live by what he tries to get us to do. Like, we're all going to mess up. We're all going to have times in our life where it's really tough, but being able to listen and get to hear about what he has to say and try to do things to the best of your ability in accordance with what you think he would want you to do or what he's telling you to do is really what's going to be important for your overall success. And I attribute a lot of my life and success to, what he's been able to provide me. I don't think that I would be anywhere near where I am now without constant faith and listening to what he's been able to provide me and help me with.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I've prayed to God so many times with this podcast, just with my education and everything, and he'll give me the answers, and I'll be like, really, God? Like, are you serious? Like, do you really want me to do this? And he's like, yes, I'm telling you to do this. And it's like, when I do it, I feel good about myself, and I'll tell myself, you know what? I did this, God. If it happens, it happens, and I'm going to be really stoked and excited about it. And if it doesn't happen, then, I pray that I have the strength to move on from it and take a different route or take a different path that you don't want me to take. And just having that connection with him, like, it's just beautiful. Like, I try not to go a day without talking to God about, anything, because I never want to separate away from him. That's my biggest fear, because if I separate from him, then, I'm lost. So definitely, you got to keep him first place just with anything.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree. And I mean, even like earlier, you were talking about AP Gov, and you said, I'm not going to give you anything that you can't handle. And that's so true. We're going to be faced with big challenges and uncertainties in our life. But when he tells you to do something, he wouldn't give it to you if he didn't think you're capable of doing it. And I think that, he instills a lot of confidence in ourselves to be better. But he also provides you a lot of clarity for your life. And I think that's great. Try to talk to him every single day, read more. Try to study the Bible and just really get and grasp and understand the concepts of, like, why are we here and for what purpose. I'm reading a great book right now called The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, who's a pastor. It's a daily book. I read it once a day right now. It's helped me so much already just with my spiritual life and my professional life. There's so much in there that's great motivation for the work that I do as a person. And there's also so much that's great for my spiritual. And, it's been a great book for self-reflection. Just thinking about what can I improve upon, but what can I do to constantly just live my life the way God wants? Because we're only here for a certain amount of time.
Yes.
Some of us longer than others, but really it depends on, like, what did you do while you were here to earn eternity? What did you do on here to, like, benefit other people and live the life that God wanted you to live. And, I think the more that we can listen and not ignore, even if it's not our favorite thing to do or something that we want to do, the more success we're going to get to have naturally. Those who follow and listen to God or whoever higher power they believe in are the ones who are going to achieve more. And that's just how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. On Friday, like, that day just blew me because, like, one of my older pastors, he had passed away. And, it saddened me, but it made me happy to realize he wasn't in any more pain. And he was feeling better, and he was in a better place. And he was finally with God. Like, he's been chasing God his whole life. And when he passed, it was like he got to be finally with him, and that made me happy. And then that night, I found out that Chadwick Boseman passed away. And that really, like, killed my spirit and just blew me. But it also taught me that this world isn't our home. Like, this isn't for us. And we got to strive to get things right on earth because you never know when God calls us. So just something I had to acknowledge because it touched my spirit just thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, death at some point has to be a celebration of life. And while that is a crushing blow for us, there always has to be some sort of part of us that can realize, like, this person is better off. I think of like a New Orleans funeral, and, when they're doing the procession, they're playing sad music all the way to the funeral. Once the funeral's over, though, they're playing happy celebratory music because they realize that person's passed on and they're in a better place and a better life. And I think that there has to be always some sort of aspect of us that can kind of recognize that and really understand, like it is a celebration of life. Like, all of us are only here for a certain amount of time, and some of us leave sooner than we expect them to. But we have to just recognize that they are, they're in a much more positive place.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm going to go ahead and end things on a positive note, man. Just want to say thank you for joining me, man. I had a great conversation with you, and I'm definitely open to have you back on again, bro. This was just an incredible conversation, man. Incredible.
Definitely agree. I mean, I really appreciate you hitting me up and getting me on here. I was extremely excited to come and get on here and get to talk to you today. And I love the conversation we got to have, and hope our listeners here get a lot out of it. And if anybody has any sort of questions for me, I can give you like my information. They can feel free to reach out. But hey, thanks so much. I had a really awesome time.
Yes, sir, man. You take care, and I'll see you down the road, man.
See you then.
Yep. All right, guys, this wraps up episode 28 of the CedTalks Podcast. Remember to stay blessed, stay healthy, and stay encouraged, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you.